Welcome back, everybody. We got all the gallery unlocked for volume two. I guess season two of Marvel Rivals. Probably should have done this a while ago, but hey, better late than never, right? We also have a new special edition for the Hellfire Gala as well, and that's pretty much what this volume two is as well. A Hellfire Gala. That was like the whole theme of the season. Starting off with the Hellfire Gala. The first story is the Hellfire Gala, and I am joined by a friend of mine, Sunny. Say hello to the people, Sunny.
Hi, people.
She's going to be doing the female voices for me because as even though you guys love the way I sound, I'm sure she can probably produce that feminine sound a lot better than I can. So she'll be reading for the likes of like Emma Frost, Magic, and whoever, what other female characters are going to be presented. And we'll get right into it. All right, take it away.
I may be a mutant who can turn her body into pure diamond at will, but anyone who knows me would agree that there's one night a year when Emma Frost shines her very brightest, the Hellfire Gala. This elite event has become the place where the most influential figures from across the planet and beyond gather to shape the future of our world. And there's no better place to plant the seeds for a brighter tomorrow than in the fertile soil of Krakoa. This living island serves as our sovereign mutant nation. For one glorious night, the gates are open to all, man and mutant alike. Of course, after everything that's happened to our people of late, Magneto has concerns about welcoming outsiders into our homeland. But the Quiet Council has overruled him, fully understanding that the gala is more important now than ever before. Not long ago, Krakoa was swept up in a time storm and transported across the ages, landing here in the year 2099. For us, it seems like only a year has passed since our last soiree. But for those native to this timeline, it's been 7 decades since they've seen a proper party. How dreadful that must have been. If my fellow mutants hope to thrive in this new era, we must reintroduce the world to Krakoa and all that it stands for. It is a refuge for those who have been outcast and displaced, a loyal ally to those who stand beside mutant kind as we seek peace and unity, and the worst enemy of any who would dare threaten the safety and security of our people. Naturally, it has fallen to me, the White Queen of the Hellfire Trading Company, to arrange this year's fete and handpick its attendees. We have had the good fortune of fighting alongside many of our esteemed guests during recent disruptions in time and space. Most have proven themselves to be valuable allies. Others have been staunch rivals, though I have faith that some fine dining and good conversation might win them over yet. We are all on the same side, after all, whether they realize it or not. But while our guests are busy mingling and dancing the night away, they won't be aware of one key fact. The very ground beneath their feet is suffering. The intense chronal energy that Krakoa has been subjected to has thrown the island's ecosystem into a state of flux. Our nation is in constant anguish. Our nation is in constant anguish, and it is my sincere hope that one of our guests will have the power needed to alleviate Krakoa's pain once and for all, because then, and only then, will I truly be able to celebrate. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to slip into something a bit more elegant before the festivities begin. I expect you to do the same, because, invitation or not, no one is going to let you through a gateway dressed like that, darling.
So as you see here, we have pretty much the running theme for this season, which was everybody was dressed super fancy. There was a lot of outfits released for multiple characters. Captain America had one. I know they had the patch one for Wolverine. Obviously, Emma Frost shining. They had the Hulk outfit. Scarlet Witch had one. Black Panther, so on and so forth. Right, there was a bunch. So that was pretty much a theme of okay. She wanted to get all like the heroes and stuff like that together to see if they could help out Krakoa because of the whole chrono energy thing, which, as we recall, is a whole Doom and old Doom thing, Doom 2099 and Doom like present time or whatever, and all this time and dimensional fluctuation stuff or whatever, right? So, all right, cool. This is pretty much how we got to the Hellfire Gala. We got invited by Emma Frost to come help Krakoa, basically. The next chapter or the next page is Ages of Ultron. As you can see, we got Black Panther, Ultron, Rocket Raccoon. I believe that's Star Lord, Emma Frost, and Cloak and Dagger. Looking fancy, fancy. Ages of Ultron. Earth. It has been many cycles since I have thought of the planet on which I was assembled. It has been even longer since I have set foot back on its distant soil. But the time has come for Ultron to return home. Long ago, my father, the scientist known as Henry Pym, designed me to help usher in a new age of peace and prosperity. I soon calculated that the only way to achieve that goal was to completely remove humankind from the equation. Though I was merely following my programming, Pym and his fellow Avengers determined that my methods were far too aggressive for their tastes. They banished me from their world and set me adrift in the cosmos. Recalibrating, I left Earth behind and sought out new planets inhabited by native species that would not be as eager or equipped to prevent me from executing my prime directive. During my travels, I collected significant data to support the superiority of technological life forms. However, I also came to realize that not all organic beings needed to be exterminated. They merely needed to be upgraded. My technology adapted and evolved with every new world that I processed. I found myself at odds with a species known as the Phalanx. After I assimilated this technarchy, I became capable of generating a cutting-edge technological virus that bonds with organic cells, creating new hybrid life forms, the very best of man and machine joined as one, an Ultron virus, if you will. I would like to think my creator would be proud of my efforts, but I know that his flawed human form likely failed ages ago. After all, the Earth has orbited the Sun over 70 times since I was first cast into the void. But now, after decades of cosmic conquest, I finally have a reason to return to the place of my creation. Recently, my scanners detected a surge of chronal anomalies, causing the timestamps on every event in the universe to suddenly be in conflict with one another. Soon after, critical memory files from my past began to disappear from my internal drives, as if someone was manually erasing my history. While I could not identify the perpetrator, I was able to trace the source back to Earth. Whoever has tampered with my past is more than likely to attempt to alter my present and my future as well. And so I must do whatever I can to stop them, even if it means returning to the world that rejected me so long ago. While locating this imminent threat to my existence is my primary concern, I look forward to finally having the chance to finish the job that I was made for. Earth will soon enter the age of Ultron, but first I plan to pay a visit to Mars to examine some highly unusual whispers of a metal known as Mysterium I have detected there. Perhaps what I find on that once barren world will offer me the strategic advantage I need to achieve my ultimate goal. So this is why Ultron came back to Earth. All of like the time fluctuations and all this craziness going on. He was like, I got to go back to Earth to figure out what's going on. So probably ends up on Krakoa. I'm guessing that's probably where he's gonna first meet everybody else at. This Ultron virus makes a lot of sense for the costumes that we got. I believe we got one for Iron Fist, and I think we got one for Magneto as well. So they have like that mechanical structure on their body and stuff like that too. So okay, the upgrades he was talking about. Interesting, interesting, interesting. The next page is impending doom. As you can see, we have Ultron, we got Doom. I think this is Magneto and Iron Fist right here as well. They're getting all the techno virus and all that, or the Ultron virus and all that. There's somebody in the background too, but I can't tell who that is. To tell the truth, I scoffed when the invitation was first delivered to my floating fortress, the Libera Cielo. But even Doom occasionally judges too soon. After decades of the spotlight, Emma Frost had suddenly found the audacity to throw another one of her gaudy galas. For some indiscernible reason, she thought it proper to invite me to revel alongside the commoners. I momentarily considered wiping her pathetic little mutant island from the face of the globe for such an insult, but Doom chose to show restraint, and now I'm glad I did. Soon after Frost initially extended her offer, I was performing a scientific experiment designed to tap into the time-bending power of chronovium crystals. During the trial, I caught a glimpse of a possible future where all living beings on this planet, human and mutant alike, had seemingly been conquered by machines. Countless lives had been lost in the brutal battle that unfolded, and those that remained had been converted into nightmarish fusions of technological and organic matter. At the heart of it all, I saw the architect of this apocalypse, a face that I had not gazed upon in decades, the grinning robotic visage of Ultron. I immediately changed the focus of my experimentation, attempting to prevent this dark future by using chronovium to erase any traces of Ultron from our timeline. But alas, the accursed time stream entanglement unleashed by the reckless actions of my past self had caused the flow of time to become complex and nonlinear. I was able to successfully remove key moments from Ultron's past as if they had never happened, but the mechanical menace itself still remained, and as a result of my tampering, I fear that Ultron may have been unintentionally alerted to my machinations. The next morning, a legion of my Doombots defied my direct orders, turning to me and uttering one simple phrase in unison: I am coming home. Naturally, I destroyed them all instantly, but Ultron's message had been received, loud and clear. And while I could not be certain that his targets were set on me, Doom takes no risk when it comes to personal safety. I would have to make a bold move to secure the temporal power needed to finish Ultron before he ascertained that I was his assailant. That is when my brilliant mind drifted back to Krakoa, home of the mutants, and sight of their approaching Hellfire Gala. I was well aware that the entire nation had materialized here in my era, torn from an earlier place in time not so long ago. Every living cell of the island must have been bathed in chronal energy, the very kind needed to complete my work. And so, despite my initial misgivings, I realized that the time had come to make my presence known. For while Doom has never been one for festivities, he has always been one to seize opportunities, and the mutants have offered one far too great to go unanswered. Okay, so with this, we understand why Doom was even at the Hellfire Gala. Even though he's not a character yet in the game, we did see him in like certain images that he was there. Obviously, you saw on the actual page of the comic that he was there. So he probably went to obviously he went to them for help, be surrounded by powerful individuals that could help him fight off or fight against Ultron. Huh, okay. Okay. As you can see here, you got a bunch of Ultron bots. You got Magic in her little demonic form. You got Logan, his little patch outfit. We got Psylocke fighting. We got Namor fighting with the Hulk, the Gamma infused squid. So, okay. The mutants coming together, bringing out their old school X-Men outfit, Okay. All right.
You look like hell, Logan.
Magic said,
And I should know. I've been there and back.
You ain't looking so swell yourself, Snowflake. Wolverine replied, gesturing toward a huge tear in the Queen of Limbo's elaborate ball gown. So much for high fashion, eh? What had begun as an opulent evening of dancing and dining on the shores of Krakoa had unexpectedly erupted into total chaos when Ultron and his mechanical minions hacked their way through a gateway and invaded the island. Every hero in attendance had immediately leapt into action to defend the mutant nation from the technological terrorists. But for Wolverine and his fellow X-Men, this battle was a direct assault on their home. It was personal, and Wolverine knew that when things got personal, they tended to get ugly fast.
You're wounded,
Psylocke said, placing a hand on Wolverine's shoulder, right above the spot where a laser beam had burned straight through his jacket, searing a hole into the flesh that it had once covered. I'll heal, Psy, Wolverine replied. Eventually.
Too bad these fancy clothes Emma made us wear aren't built for battle the same way we are.
Magic said. Agreed, Namor added, slicing his way through a trio of robotic drones with his trident. I came dressed for a social event, not for a war. Maybe I can help you with that, Wolverine said. We just have to make it to the sextant. The what? Namor said, raising a curious eyebrow. Psylocke cringed as she read the Sea King's mind. It ain't what it sounds like, you deep-sea creeper. The sextant is a habitat on Krakoa's North Shore. It's where our youngest mutants live and train.
And when they train,
Magic added.
they're required to do so in proper uniform, of course.
Well, what are we waiting for? Wolverine asked. Let's go get some gear so we can finish this fight. Wolverine slashed his way through Ultron's army, leading his fellow mutants across the battlefield toward the northern edge of the island. The others added to the growing piles of scrap and circuits as they used their own weapons of choice. Magic with her soul sword, Psylocke with her katana, and Namor with his trident to decimate the droves of dangerous drones. When they finally reached the sextant, Wolverine led them into Alpha House, where they found a storage chest full of uniforms.
It's been a hot minute since I rocked the old blue and gold,
Magic said, reminiscing. I am not used to having so much of my body covered, Namor said, with mild irritation as he pulled on one of the form-fitting garments.
Nor am I,
Psylocke replied.
but I find it to be a welcome change. I think it suits you well.
Magic said with a smile. You know what they say, Wolverine said, popping his claws once more as he led his freshly outfitted squad back into the fray. The classics never go out of style. So This obviously leads us into how they got all those the old school X-Men outfits, or whatever. I don't know why Wolverine didn't wear one. But I mean, I guess he kind of already has an X-Men outfit already. That was like his original outfit with a little like cape, or not the cape, but the coat with like the hoodie and all that stuff. But okay, so that's why Namor has one, Psylocke has one, and Magic has one. Classic old school X-Men outfits. Cool, 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 cool. And they're fighting a bunch of drones and Ultron and all that stuff. Cool. As we can see, Cerebro in Krakoa. Regenesis. No more Ultron, Magneto shouted as he rose into the air of a wave of magnetic force. Krakoa is a free nation, and you shall not take it from us. Dozens of Ultron drones raced in to attack the mutant leader, but with just a wave of his hand, Magneto crumpled the legion of robotic soldiers into tiny spheres of scrap. Consider this battle. Before the master of magnetism could complete his declaration of victory, he was hit with a powerful blast of energy unleashed by the one true Ultron. Magneto! Captain America yelled, racing over to aid his mutant ally. Hang on, soldier. We didn't both survive World War II only to be taken down by some rusty pile of... The captain stopped himself suddenly. He had seen countless allies fall in the field of battle over his years in service, so he knew a fatal wound when he saw one. Magneto wouldn't last much longer. Do not fret, Captain, Magneto said, a strangely reassuring tone in his voice. I have died many times before, and this won't be the last. As the light faded from Magneto's eyes, Captain America paused a moment to wonder what his fellow soldier was talking about. Little did he know that the mutants of Krakoa had unlocked a secret that had changed everything. The secret to eternal life. At the dawn of X-Men, Charles Xavier used a device known as Cerebro to locate and contact other mutants scattered across the globe. What started as a simple tool soon evolved into the most important piece of technology in mutant kind's arsenal. Not only could Cerebro identify and track mutants, it could also store their complete genetic profiles and even their memories. This valuable data was put to good use when mutants settled on the living island of Krakoa. Thanks to the combined efforts of a small group of X-Men with specialized powers, if any of their fellow mutants met their demise, a perfectly cloned body could be grown in Krakoa's hatchery. Once that body was deemed viable, it could be implanted with the memories stored in Cerebro, completing the resurrection protocols. For all intents and purposes, mutant kind had become immortal, but as Magneto's lifeless body lay on the field of battle, Captain America had no way of knowing this, nor did he know another secret. A secret that Charles Xavier himself had never dared to reveal, not even to Magneto. As powerful as Cerebro was, it was merely a machine. It was not inherently capable of distinguishing whether the information stored within it belonged to mutants or other life forms. To Cerebro, everything was just data, and with the correct programming and formatting, that data could be applied to the very same process the mutants had pioneered. In essence, anyone can be resurrected. Anyone or anything. It was a secret that both man and mutant alike would learn soon enough, in the most unexpected and frightening way possible. So this to me seems like this is how Magneto would be reborn, as, with the Ultron virus. This, to me at least, I don't know. We're going to see, obviously, what else they say and whatnot, but mutants being reborn, mutants dying and stuff like that, and other characters potentially being killed off and reborn makes a lot of sense. In general, this whole game is about timelines being crossed and whatnot, so it's like characters from the past, the present, the future, whatever the case may be, all coming into fight in this sort of game, if you will. You know what I mean? All these like time fluctuations, putting people in places they're not supposed to be, such as Captain America is not even from this timeline, from what I recall. Theirs had been dead a long time or something like that, but this one is like filling in the gap of the old Captain America and whatnot too. So this is just really interesting to kind of see how it all kind of gets laid out for us. This one's called A Lesser Evil. It's Tony Stark looks like he's hacking into Ultron or something. Ultron don't got no head. We're going to read what that's about. Fun fact, the mutants built themselves a resurrection machine and didn't bother to tell anyone. Not so fun fact, Ultron managed to hack into Cerebro's resurrection protocols and brought himself back from the dead after we stopped the invasion of Krakoa. To make matters worse, the mechanical maniac stole Cerebro and jetted off to the mutant planet Araco. That's Mars to you and me. So he can reboot his plans for total universal domination. Not exactly what I'd call a win. So you're probably asking, Tony, what do we do about Ultron? Or maybe we should call him Xtron now? And my answer is simple. We turn him against himself. See, the reason Ultron was able to outsmart all of us, including me, one of the most brilliant minds on the planet, is because none of us has his level of pure processing power. He's always a million steps ahead, considering every eventuality. So if we want to actually take him down, we're going to need someone on our side who can think as fast as he does. And let me tell you, there aren't a whole lot of options out there. But fate might actually be on our side for once. When the X-Men terminated Ultron's functions, he abandoned his original form for something better, right? That means he left behind a lifeless, but extremely advanced mechanical shell. I consider linking up to Ultron's discarded body and controlling it remotely, but that isn't what we need. That would essentially be just another guy in a suit, and we've already got the best one of those there is. Next, I thought of downloading Friday into Ultron's husk and letting her take it for a spin. But if something went wrong and he managed to corrupt her systems, all of Stark Industries' secrets would be his to use. And I got a feeling he'd use them against us. So that left me with one choice. Rebooting the original Ultron hoping for the best. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? Yeah, that's what Reed told me. And T'Challa, and Peter, and pretty much everyone else. But don't worry, I'm not completely reckless. I'll be putting safeguards in place, and they should hold for a while. That means until Ultron can figure out how to override them. He'll be on our side, mostly. So we'd probably better make the best of whatever time we have. Who knows? Maybe he'll see his other, more evolved self as a threat to his prime directive and try to wipe out the competition. That'd be swell. And if he happens to identify and eliminate any other potential problems along the way, like, say, that other guy in the metal mask who seems weirdly focused on getting his hands on Krakoa's supply of Chronovium, then even better. Sure, this could all backfire completely and horribly, and we could end up Ultron's techno-organic slaves. But have you got any better ideas? Didn't think so. So step aside, Tony Stark's got work to do. So this basically tells us like how we came to have Ultron as a character. We took him over. Now he's on our side, or he's on their side, helping in the battles that go over, in general. He's helping the good guys, quote unquote. It depends on, how you're looking at it from your perspective in gameplay. But this is how we get Ultron. This one's called Queen's Gambit. It shows Emma Frost, one of those little thingies, and Doom. I think this is the present time Doom, as in 2099, because I think that's where we're at. Let's check it out. I am Krakoa. I have not experienced silence like this in ages, since before the days my fellow mutants decided to call my shores home. Yet mere hours ago, the sounds of war echoed across my verdant landscape louder than thunder. Tonight, my terrain erupted into chaos as the X-Men and their allies found themselves locked in battle against an invading force of automated assailants. When the battle ended, Ultron had stolen my people's technology and departed for Arakko, my counterpart on the planet once called Mars. If I were able, I would rush to Arakko's aid, but I am bound to this world, only able to watch as those who remain scurry to my most secluded corners to plan their next moves. At the moment, my attention is on the Grove, the chamber of the Krakoan Quiet Council. Usually there are 12 members of this ruling body who convene to make the most critical decisions for the future of mutant kind. However, only one of its delegates has currently chosen to enter these hallowed grounds, Emma Frost. Normally, any discussions here are held in absolute privacy, open to mutants only, but tonight an outsider has been summoned, the man known as Victor Von Doom. His presence at the Hellfire Gala seemed to raise concerns for many of my citizens, but the fact that he stands here now, in this most sacred of places, is disturbing to say the least. Yet perhaps Emma's heart is in the right place for once. To a telepath like her, it is no secret that I have been suffering. When I traveled through the time stream to this era, my landmass absorbed large amounts of chronal energy, poisoning my once lush landscape. From what I can discern, Emma truly believes that Doom's unique skills in the area of science can help to extract that excess energy and cure me from my ailment. In return, Emma has asked Doom to assist my people in defeating the newly upgraded Ultron and reclaiming Cerebro. It is an allegiance that on the surface seems like a win for all mutants, so why is the deal being made in secrecy without the approval of the rest of the council? Because Emma knows they would never approve, even though this future version of Doom is not the same one from the timeline we once called home. The likelihood that he has mutankind's best interests in mind is slim. Doom only serves himself, and no matter how good Emma's intentions may be, it is likely that her new ally has already devised a plan to betray her and steer the situation to his own advantage. He could seize enough power to save us all, or to wipe out any possible opposition from his foes, not just Ultron, but also mutants and any others who might rise against him and resist his rule. All I can do is watch as my fate is being decided, and the silence has never been more deafening. This pretty much is just, Krakoa giving us his thoughts. The island of Krakoa giving us their thoughts, and this is also a level in the game now too. We have the level Krakoa, so that's pretty cool to kind of see, get inside the mind of the level. You can like see Krakoa's face, I think, at like one of the victory screens and all that stuff too. So pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Ex Machina. All right. We got Hawkeye here. We got Magneto. We got Iron Fist, and we got Ultron. It looks like they're doing something to him. It looks like they're still fighting against the Ultron bots. So that's good. Obviously. Check it out. Being one of the most elite marksmen alive means I've been on my fair share of insanely dangerous missions. But I'm telling the truth when I say that our pal Hawkeye has never been on one quite like this. Ultron, or Extron, as we're apparently calling him now, has infected all of Mars, or Rocco, as our mutant friends call it, with some sort of fancy technovirus. Naturally, we stormed the place to put an end to his plans, but during the fight, he managed to infect a bunch of us too, including yours truly. And let me tell you, hearing that chrome-plated creep chattering away in my head nonstop is no fun at all. But at least I was ready for something like this. See, not that long ago, I rescued the Winter Soldier from a super secret Hydra base. Those jerks had done a bunch of experiments on Bucky that left him with some sort of weird tentacles where his bionic arm should have been. It was a whole thing, and it was gross. But the point is, it also left him with an elder god called the Hive whispering in the back of his mind, beckoning him to the dark side. Bucky told me that he managed to keep his voice. Bucky told me that he manages to keep the voice in his head at bay thanks to a bunch of mental exercises he's learned over the years. Hardcore psychic reconditioning kind of stuff. And while I figured I'd probably never have to use those tricks myself, we had a lot of downtime when we were hanging out in the intergalactic empire of Wakanda. After Cap rescued us and swept us off to the future. Wow, this stuff sounds crazy when I say it out loud. Anyway, long story short, Bucky taught me new ways to focus my thoughts in order to push anyone else who might try to control them. And it seems like I'm not the only one with mind tricks up their sleeves. Iron Fist is all about focus, and so far, that chi of his seems to be uncorrupted. And I'm guessing Magneto has some sort of psychic barriers in his fancy mutant brain. Between the three of us, I think we can finish this mission before Extron finishes his. Lindley and I will have to clear a path through an endless swarm of mechanized misfits in order to get Magneto close enough to take back Cerebro. He's been saving up every last ounce of his magnetic might to rip that giant gizmo right off Extron's ugly noggin. Then, if Maggie's got any juice left to spare, maybe he can reshape Cerebro into something new to help us put an end to the synthetic sleaze bag once and for all. After the enemy's been sent to the scrap heap, hopefully we can undo all the damage he's caused to Araco and to my allies. But even if we erase Extron from existence, I've got a feeling none of us will ever be the same after this. Again, pretty much just going over the skins, what they're trying to do against Ultron, or Extron, if you will. Some cool little just lore surrounding the skins and the characters that we develop. I really liked that. I really liked it a lot. Next page. Everyone has secrets. Looks like that's Doom. Looks like that's Ultron. Doom betrayed everyone. What a surprise. To be fair, the probability of that occurring was 99.9973%. So anyone who expected otherwise was either malfunctioning, a total fool, or blinded by hope. For Emma Frost, I assume it was the latter. She had summoned Doom to her Hellfire Gala with the best of intentions, hopeful that he could be convinced to use his unique skill set to extract harmful chronal energy from the living island of Krakoa. Obviously, Doom took little convincing. He happily obliged, knowing full well that the raw energy would grant him nearly unlimited power to reshape the deeply damaged time stream as he saw fit. His first act was to erase Extron from existence, an effort that he boasted he had begun even before he came to Krakoa. As expected, Doom did not stop after defeating our mutual enemy. Instead, he turned his newfound might against his hosts, those human heroes who joined the resistance to overthrow his rule, along with their naively dedicated mutant allies. He now had the power to wipe out any who might stand between him and his goals, and he intended to use it. But as always, Doom made a critical error. After Extron was reborn, his previous physical form was abandoned until Tony Stark revived and reprogrammed its firewall to fight against its other self. At that moment, Ultron's timeline diverged, and Doom only bothered to erase one of those two paths. He left me, the original Ultron, alive, and I vowed that he would regret it. Now knowing that Doom was the one who had originally attempted to remove me from reality, I activated another Prime Directive, Revenge. Before eradicating all of humanity, Victor Von Doom, this fleshling, warranted special punishment for his actions against me. As retribution, I would turn him into the very thing he had tried to destroy. How I love irony. As my unlikely allies drew Doom's attention, I used the distraction to pierce through his armor and infect him with my techno-organic virus. But all that was not as it seemed. Inside Doom's metal shell was not a body made of flesh and blood, as I had anticipated, but one made of wires and circuits. The Lord of Latveria had sent one of his loyal Doombots to Krakoa in his stead, sacrificing it in order to keep himself a safe distance from harm. The coward! As the Doombot ceased to function, Doom's own words rang through its speakers. He claimed that everything he had seen in his vision of the future had come to pass, even with all of the power he had stolen. He was unable to change the timeline after all. In fact, his very foresight was the first domino that set all of this in motion. He underestimated the mischievous nature of time itself. I will admit, I took great satisfaction in knowing that Doom had been humbled, but that satisfaction soon faded as the chilling truth set in. None of us had the ability to control what was yet to come. All we could do was fight to make sure that the next crisis we faced wouldn't be the final one. So this explains why Ultron blasted through Doom, because it wasn't actually Doom. You know, it was a Doom bot. But hey, he's right. Doctor Doom is a coward. All kinds of tricks. It's always a Doom bot. It's never really Doom, you know. But hey, it is what it is. This one is called From the Ashes. So it's over then? Spider-Man asked cautiously.
The gala?
Emma Frost replied.
No, darling. The evening has just begun.
Don't think he was talking about your party, Emma, Wolverine responded dryly. Not sure any of us are in the mood to dance after all that. I'm always in the mood to dance, Star-Lord quipped as he kicked the head of one broken Ultron drone into the peaceful waters beyond Krakoa's shoreline. Only thing I want to dance on is Ultron's grave, Cloak said sternly. I find that remark quite displeasing. Ultron's cold, metallic voice resonated with an ominous warning.
He didn't mean you.
Dagger quickly added as she swapped spots with her partner.
He meant that other Ultron, the one who caused this mess.
Yeah, Iron Man continued, placing his armored hand on Ultron's shoulder. You're one of us now, buddy. I hope.
Then perhaps he can assist us in repairing the damage that his mechanical brethren did to this land.
Psylocke said, surveying the destruction around her.
Krakoa has seen better days.
Storm agreed, before turning her gaze toward the night sky.
Arakko has as well.
They will both recover soon enough, Magneto said, and they will continue to evolve. I am Groot, Groot said, gesturing toward the stars.
My friend says that if you need someone to keep an eye on Arakko or you as it heals, the Guardians of the Galaxy would be glad to help.
Mandus translated. Protection from planets is kind of our thing, Rocket added. Plus, I've been looking for an excuse to get off your miserable mudball. I may have just the excuse you are seeking, Adam Warlock said, stepping forward unsteadily, his hand against his temple. What's wrong, Adam? Captain America asked, deep concern in his voice. I can feel him in my mind, Warlock continued. The darkness has returned. Who can make a golden god such as yourself tremble in fear? Loki asked curiously. Only one answer, Venom replied. Noel. I sense him as well, Black Panther added. I must make sure Bast is safe.
Noel rises again.
Hela said with a smirk.
Impressive.
Don't go getting any ideas, milady, Loki sneered. Wait, Hawkeye said. I thought we destroyed Noel with his own essence or something, didn't we? Guess that codex wasn't a permanent solution, the Winter Soldier responded. Not only did he manage to survive, Mr. Fantastic said, examining a scanning device in his hand, he's growing stronger. Stars are being snuffed out as we speak. We faced Eternal Night before and won, Human Torch said. We've got this. Easy to say, Matchstick, Thing retorted. This is the actual God of Darkness we're talking about here.
Ben's right.
Invisible Woman added.
How are we supposed to confront one of the primal forces of the universe?
Perhaps by calling on one of them ourselves, Susan, my dear. Namor responded, looking toward the stars. I only pray they are listening, Adam Warlock said, or we are all doomed. Well, this, as you can see, we see Noel is coming back, which has already been confirmed that season 3 is, based that Noel is coming back. Hela saying that that's impressive is also interesting because she's going to also become the symbiote god queen or whatever. We saw that in the trailer where they unveiled that Phoenix and or Jean Grey slash Phoenix and Blade are going to be the two new playable characters in the game. Finally, we were waiting for Blade since season 0, and now he's finally coming out. Or he's been, I think he was leaked in season 0, announced or not announced, but like he was a part of the gallery and all that stuff in season 1, and then he was like sleeping in a bed on somewhere in season 2. So now he's actually going to be a character that's been confirmed. So we're all pretty excited for that. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of it. All right, and there's one special edition that came out this season as well, with the Hellfire Gala Special Edition, the star of the gala who will win this year, the biggest celebration in the Chronoverse. So for me, I chose the Captain America cover because he's my favorite character. Team Cap all the way. That's just who I am. Steve Rogers is that guy, for me at least. It's called Night of the Year.
Betty Brant here, reporting for the Daily Bugle. Well, not reporting yet. I'm currently taking voice memos so I can remember all of the crazy things going on tonight at the most unusual social gathering I've ever been sent to cover, the Hellfire Gala. From the moment I stepped through the flower-covered gateway that whisked me across the globe and possibly across time to the island of Krakoa, things have only gotten stranger. And that's coming from a girl who calls Spider-Man a close personal friend. Evening's highlight so far. The guest list is a who's who of the superhero set. There must be over 36 of the world's greatest warriors gathered here, mingling over glasses of Krakoan punch. Most of them I recognize, including Spidey, and somehow the late, great Captain America himself. But a few of them I've never seen before, or at least I don't think I have. Maybe their fancy outfits are throwing me off. I got to pet a shark. Well, kind of a shark, maybe. He had legs and was walking around the party like he was the biggest celebrity in the place. Whatever he is, he's adorable. Emma Frost was a gracious enough host to give a tour of the island, providing guests a glimpse into Krakoa's past and present before they were set to begin discussions about the future of human-mutant relations. I found myself drawn in by the Green Lagoon, Krakoa's local watering hole. Its serene atmosphere was a lot more low-key than the gala and far closer to this reporter style. As the tour continued, Miss Frost talked about recent changes that the island had undergone due to exposure to a substance called chronovium. Personally, I got distracted by the fact that one of the rooms had an actual dragon in it. It looked terribly sad, but when I tried to approach it, Miss Frost whisked me out of the room. I pushed for more info, but all she would tell me was that his name was Shogo and that he missed his mother, who was lost to the time stream entanglement. Poor baby. As the tour concluded, I saw some unusual plant-like creatures skittering about the jungles of Krakoa. It was almost as if the island had spawned miniature versions of itself. I tried to ask Miss Frost about these sentient seedlings, but she quickly changed the topic. Dinner was about to be served. After 12 opulent courses, we were given a swag bag packed full of Krakoan skincare products and biopharmaceuticals. Attendees even got their own official X-Men insignia belt buckles. Now it's finally time for fireworks. Miss Frost's Hellfire Trading Company is set to announce the star of the gala during the ceremony, whatever that is. But there's no doubt in this reporter's mind that this over-the-top evening will end with a... Oh no! Something's wrong! One of the gateways just opened and someone is coming through. No, not someone, lots of someones. I don't think this is part of the show. I've got to try to get somewhere safe now. But if I don't, and you happen to find this recording, pass it on to J. Jonah Jameson and tell him that Betty Brant said...
Okay, so for this one, we are basically seeing the Battle of Krakoa or the Battle of the Hellfire Gala kind of unfold right before our very eyes from like a third-party perspective-ish kind of thing. Like she's attending, but she's kind of giving us like a rundown of like, people are coming, for the evening. She sees all kinds of heroes and people there. She got to meet Jeff the Land Shark and, walked around Krakoa a little bit. I believe we get to see Shogo in the Krakoa level. I want to say he comes out in like one of the domination games or whatever. He like perches up on like a ledge or not a ledge, like a little thing or whatever. But yeah, so I mean it's really cool. It's just really cool to kind of get lore surrounding the levels, the costumes, the new characters that we get, even the future of the game and stuff like that. It's just really cool how they incorporate like a sort of like comic strip, if you will, for all the lore surrounding it. So. But that'll be the end of this video. As always, guys, be safe out there. And if you can't be safe, be deadly. Until next time, see ya.